this here is my 1979 F350 dually. Oh yeah, we got a 1 ton this time. So, little story, backstory, history on the old girl. This here 1979 F350. Last registered in 1997. I got a license plate on the inside that says so. It's been running probably 15 years ago. Other than that, it was parked in a farmer's field in the back lot, you know, in the tree row. And just sat forever. Someone was messing with it every now and then. I got it, picked it up. It was like midnight. Didn't really get too much footage of that. Just took it, I cleaned it off, brought it to the car wash. Done a few things already to it. I've taken and oiled everything. So all my door, hood and everything opens real nice. I've got the spark plugs all cleaned up already. Put some oil down the cylinders, making sure everything turns over nice and easy. But you know what? Enough talking about it. Let's show you this rig. Let's start on the inside. It's the best part about this truck. Oh yeah, nice and dirty. So it was originally a black truck. Someone painted it white. That's okay. It's got a nice little fun tack in there. Factory radio actually works still. Everything so far seems to work. I got a set of mirrors for it already. It's a 4-speed. It's a 390 big block truck. She's a rig. There's the plate on the other side. Show you that it was last registered in 1997. Almost 30 years this old girl hasn't been on the road. August 1997. Yep. What a sweetheart. So this was a farm truck down by the border, by the States. We're in Canada, by the way. And it was a bale hauler for a lot of its life. Apparently did good at it too. It used to do wheelies, pulling bales. There we go. There's the 390 big block that's in it. So, one problem I've got so far is I don't have spark. I'm assuming it's the spark box, because everything else checks out fine. But I'm at the point that I said fuck it, and I just bought a HEI distributor conversion for this thing off Amazon. It was twice as much as a new spark box, but then I got everything's brand new. Got spark plugs all cleaned up because we don't buy spark plugs here. We just sandblast them. Of course, the wires, I mean, they're mixed matched. They feel fine though. They don't look like they're chewed up. They're still pretty soft, so I'm going to say that they're okay. And if they're not, I've got an extra 1 or 2 in a box somewhere that I can throw on this thing to make sure it works. But yeah, let's get to working with the new HEI distributor. I'll show you how I like to go through distributor before I even put it into a vehicle, because it's easier to do it when it's outside. Okay, so we're working off the flatbed of this rig. It's a nice little table, pop a slot. So, believe it or not, this is the first brand new distributor I have ever owned. I always buy used distributors off Marketplace because I'm cheap. Yeah, that's about it. But just like a Marketplace distributor, I'm not going to trust this thing as far as I can throw it. And my arm hurts today, so I can't throw it too far. So let's pop it open, check it out. Let's get the cap off this thing now. You always got to inspect your new parts. New parts are garbage, especially when you buy off Scamazon. Right there. So the real reason I am going through this is I want to fuck with the advance on this distributor. I always like to give them a little less spring rate, so it gets to full timing a little faster. We're giving it a little bit of a hot rod tune-up with the distributor. So I'll take some spring rate out of these springs simply by just stretching them a little bit. And if I can, I would like to shorten the curve on the distributor. So what I mean by that is this little piece, you see these big wings here? This is where your cap will bolt onto. And this is what advances your timing in relation to the distributor, which is bolted down into the motor. So I'm going to try and make it so we got less swing. So I'd like to cut that down to like 10 degrees. So when this thing fires up, it's going to be at 20 degrees, 24 degrees, and then when it's at full advance, it's at like 36. So we got a little less sweep, little less spring rate in this thing. So as soon as you touch the throttle, it goes to max timing. It'll make this motor a little snappier, feel a little bit more hot rod like, and plus it's a big block, 4-speed. It's going to love it. Okay, let's get you in a little bit closer here so you can see what I'm doing. So here's those little springs I was talking about, right? So if you see when this is spinning up, right, it spins like this, or I guess it'd be the other way. You spin like that, whatever. Doesn't matter which way it spins for this. These weights will start to fling out and they will advance your timing. You kind of see how it's rotating as these are opening? See that? So what we are going to do is these springs here determine how fast or how soon these weights spring out. So if we reduce the spring rate on these weights will open sooner. Okay, you can also make these weights heavier, but just messing with the springs is much easier. Okay, so let's get them off real quick here. And you don't need a pair of pliers, use your fingers. Be a man, as my old man would say. Okay, now to mess with how much advance this thing has, you can kind of see there's a slot behind there. All distributors are the same generic kind of layout. Sometimes these advanced weights will be below. They'll be farther back into the base, so you have to take a little more off to get to them, but same idea. There's always going to be these weights and these springs kind of swinging it out. There we go, gravity helped. There's those pins in those slots I was talking about. See, that is what's determining your advance on the distributor. I'm just kind of looking at what I'm planning on doing for reducing some sweep here, and I think my best bet is actually to leave this interior stuff alone. And you see that hole there on the second part of that arm? I'm thinking about just sticking a small bolt in there on one side, because it'll limit my travel as soon as it hits that beam there. Kind of see what I'm thinking? So if I have something here, it'll stop before I get full, that'd be advance, full advance. So yes, technically we're taking advance out of it, but we'll just clock the distributor a few more degrees advance to begin with. So it's all going to be the same. Let us find a little tiny bolt to stick in that hole and try and remove some timing out of this thing. I did some digging around under the hood of this truck and I ended up finding this old self-tapper laying around. So I think this is going to work perfect for my idea. Yes. Stick it in this hole. Oh my god, you're taking a random self-tapper and putting it in the distributor. You're gonna wreck it. Shut the fuck up. Okay, my distributor, my rules. There we go. So we'll just get it in a little bit and have a look-ski here. Perfect. See, the bolt is hitting the side of the case and it is reducing our advance by almost half. That's exactly what I want. So I'm thinking I'm just going to take and cut this bolt down. And that should be good. I'm not too worried about the little bit of extra weight on the one side. This is a fairly light piece, very strong on the inside it looks like. Chances are, being an Amazon distributor, the electronics is going to fail before that bearing decides to wear out. Okay, so I got this kind of put back together here. Well, kind of it is. There we go, everything's working the way it should. You'll see that will advance it when those spin out. Now, I want to make it so these springs are a little looser, so when I spin this, when this thing's spinning in the motor, it's gonna It's gonna want to fly out to max timing a little sooner. Okay, let's see now. There you go, those seem a lot looser now. It's not going to spin open when it's just cranking normally, so I'm not going to have erratic timing, but it is much looser now. Snug, snug. Don't want to go crazy tight, you're just tightening plastic, remember. Let's get plug back in here. Now, we should be able to hook ground to the base of the distributor and power to our battery wire. And when we spin this thing, we should be able to get a spark off of one of these posts to a ground with a spark plug. So let's bench test this thing. Here's what I got going on. I got my grounds, which would be normally the block. Okay, grounding the distributor there. I've got my power wire, jumper wire going to the distributor there via these jumper cables. We'll just put it on right now. Okay, so it's hot. I've got my spark plug sitting like that. So now I should be able to spin the bottom gear and we should be able to get a spark here. So let's have a look at this. Okay, can you guys see that there? Oh, you see that? So I know this distributor's working. Perfect. Okay, so now that I've tested it, I know it works. We're going to get ready to pull the old distributor out and pop this one in place. Distributor's in. Everything's all close enough to start cranking this thing over to see where I'm at timing wise. Next thing is to get some fuel into this thing. On this motor is an old Carter AFB competition series carburetor. No idea if it works or not. Probably not. Chances are I'm going to have to take that off and clean a bunch of fucking crud out of it because of, well, because that's usually the way that she goes. But because I'm lazy, rather than fucking around with that, I'm just going to fill up the float bowls with my handy dandy mustard bottle. And then I'm going to squirt a bunch of gas into the carburetor, like a lot, to kind of soak into the intake. And hopefully this thing will just fire off. I like to just look down the carb when I'm doing this. I should be over top of it right now, just in case it's just pouring fuel down the motor. I'd like to know, you know, sooner rather than later. Okay. Get these primaries opened up. Squirt a bunch of fuel down it so it catches on fire. Almost forgot about the throttle return spring. Nothing from the accelerator pump. Fire up, baby! What's going on here? Fords, they use, instead of, because this is the front cylinder, instead of being 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank God for the internet. I looked it up on my phone to double check that I wasn't doing the wrong firing order. Anyways, I was. Let's hear it again. It's looking like we're pulling a carburetor off and quickly going through it on the flat deck of this thing, but it runs. There we go. Okay, next, fuel system. Okay, so new day, new evening. Back. I got this carburetor all finished up. Couldn't find any gaskets. Drove around the city, no one had anything, so I ended up having to make my own. And I only needed 2 gaskets. I needed one for one of the booster bodies, and I need the main gasket for the in between the top and bottom half. And that's, I mean, I just took and placed the old gasket. It was all ripped, but mocked it up on a piece of gasket paper, traced it, cut it out, no big deal. I mean, what are you going to do? Fun tip, if you're going to do this, make your own gaskets. Cut a piece out that's a little bit bigger than what you're going to be making, and use a stapler and staple it to a piece of wood. I got a nice handy dandy wood table that I cut stuff on, but stapling it to a piece of plywood also works just fine. And that makes it easy. I should have filmed it, but I didn't. Yeah, so next we're going to get this carburetor on this motor. I'm going to vacuum up the top a little bit before I do, though. There's some mouse turds and just junk on top of that motor. So we'll vacuum it up, then we'll stick this carburetor on. Should be a nice shiny distributor carburetor on a very shitty looking motor. It's going to run fantastic. So let's stick you up on the hood there, and let's get to work. Okay, so I've got this thing all put together now. I've got my throttle return spring, everything seems to be working the way it should. Nothing's binding, everything's closing. I got some fuel system hooked up here, just a boat tank and a clicky clack pump. So we'll do that. I'm pretty sure I got all the vacuum lines picked off. So, all the wiring back how it should be. Yeah. Earlier, I took and I put a bunch of ATF into the fuel pump. Well, look, it just squirted everywhere. Yeah, it's messy, but that means the factory fuel pump works. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna clean up some ATF and we'll try again. work out. So, fucking awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so a few things cleaned up in the engine bay. Cleaned up all my tools. Cleaned up some wiring because it was a mess. Still runs. Also, we have a helper now cleaning the interior. There we go. So next thing here is I wanna drain some of the oil out of it. It's pretty watery or pretty thin. I don't have enough to do a full oil change, but I'll take some of the oil out and put some 1540 in it. It'll like that. And yeah, we'll go from there. Finish up the fuel system. Probably for the time being, we'll stick with the clicky clack pump. I'd like to take this thing for a drive tonight. Yeah, so we'll do that, and then we'll go for a rip. See how this thing runs, drives, and does burnouts. Yeah, okay. Continue. My ears are ringing. Here, I'll put on my earmuffs. Well, that's ATF all over them. Really want to check if this battery's charging before we even move it. See if it's charging. You don't have to have it on. It's off. Yeah. that going. We got brakes, we got power steering, we got oil pressure, we got a phony fuel system, we got ignition sticks, carburetor's rebuilt. So running wise, this thing is good enough for now. Next is we gotta purdy this thing up. So come back, part 2. We're gonna get this thing cleaned up real nice, real show worthy, and we'll try and put it on Marketplace and see what we can get for it. Until next time.